and welcome to Career Counseling Online Morning Vibe Session. And we are talking here today about information and its requirement. Now, in a digital age, when you're living in all around surrounded by information, either through social media, either through print media, or either through listening to somebody, watching the TV around us. So the main is there was a time when there was a dearth of information. To know something or to do a research on something, visit libraries and go through books and make notes and create their reports and so on. But today, any information is available to anybody with just a flip of the fingers. Today we have access to information like no other generation. But over the time, what we have found that sometimes the scarcity of information forced us, like let's say 20 years back, 30 years back, it forced anybody to go in depth about the information, to understand where the source of information is, to verify it, to confirm it with somebody, and then come to a conclusion about that information. Because what is the purpose? Go into why information is required. Basically, it is to create a human or a impulse or an impact. And information is always shared, forwarded, or read, or found out, or researched because certain next course of action is with that information. Whenever we see a particular information, intention to make our brain think about it, to analyze it, and to take a decision. So if we draw a conclusion as to what is the purpose of information, it is to create a call to action. It is, information is but shared, read, researched across to create a call to action, to create a human impact, to create a human behavior driven action. Either something, either to be conscious, either to take a decision, could be anything. Now, what are the pros and cons of information and how information is used along with mind-bending technologies these days of digital era? We will talk about it in a different. What we are talking here today is what is information and why is it required. Now, information is any such data, any such feedback which is found, researched, or shared from one source. Now, the authenticity of the source is a point of concern. But any information, whether it's authentic or not authentic, the information is to create a human behavior, to impact the psychological understanding of the person, of the community, or of the country, or of the whole global citizens. Now, why is information required? If we break it down, like many a times I face this question, like when there are so many cons about an information, why is it that information is even required? Now the question is pretty simple, but the answer to without the information, the kind of advancement that we are seeing in today's world wouldn't have been possible. It is through understanding. It is through reading about Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and the city plan and the structure of the architecture and everything. We plan to get a solution for a modern day problem. And information is there to help us take a better decision. And information is there to help us take a more informed decision. A lack of information might lead you to take a wrong decision. It might lead you to take a decision, help us guide, take the right call to action. Now, when we are talking about this information, what is it that we are looking for when we are dealing with information? Why is information even required? Information, first thing is be aware, to raise an awareness, to reconfirm, to analyze, and to take a decision. If we break it down, like just a small example, if there is any information about any subject which you are looking for, the specificity or the impact, so releasing what is known is one of the objective of information. Let's say India and Pakistan match happens and the result comes out on TV. You have already known it. Like you watch the game today on TV and you know the result. You know the end result. The same result when on the next day newspaper or the day after has little importance in terms of value addition, and is required to let go of what is already being known. In terms, like once you have already known information about something, you already know it. Repeatedly knowing the same information is not going to add any value. So if we consider our brain as a giant hard disk, it has certain segments, it is storing information. Why we do store information? Because to be alert, to be cautious, to be informed, and to minimize the negative impact on our life. A human brain always stores information to defend the body and the mind and the brain from any kind of impact. When the information is not present, we have a chance of walking into danger. So the very essence or life form is but questioned. So the brain constantly forces us to collect information to be protected against unforeseen conditions, unforeseen enemies, unforeseen dangers which pop up in front of us. So in that context, our brain constantly collects information. Now why is the information required? Is because to release couple of other informations which is but already known. If India has won over a match with any other country, once you have watched that game on the TV, you already know. You don't need to reconfirm it the next day, the next day, the next day, and so on. Once you have known that information, once you have known the end result, that's absolutely confirmed, and now you can let it go. That space has to be allocated to some other information. That is how information stacking happens in the human brain. It follows a different kind of algorithm. So in create more space for more information, the brain collects more information to do a filter as to what is already known. That comes like this concept, like when once the information is already there, why do we require more information? We require that information to strengthen what we already know, to confirm what is known by us. That is how, or the functionality of information should be. When we read about something and are unclear, we read more books or we do more research, we do more, let's say, in-depth analysis or in-depth studying of that subject, because we want to confirm information before it is stored in our brain, because those stored information makes our personality traits, those creates our understanding, those creates our profile in terms of how we see things, how we analyze things, how we go into a relationship, how we feel about environment, how we feel politically, how we feel socially. So that is the reason we find that information these days, we talk about information warfare, digital warfare. Why is this happening is because we know that before our brain wants confirmation, it requires affirmation before it stores an information. So if an information has to be implanted or believed or stored in your brain by you, or has to be influenced to make you store in your brain, a simple information needs to be repeated again and again and again and again. That is the main rule or principle behind digital propaganda which we see. We have seen about what disastrous would happen when information is but tweaked, is but used for their own purpose. We have seen how organizations like Cambridge Analytica, Aggregate IQ has used tweaked information to create and bend human understanding, an understanding of years. Even with the Brexit, we have seen that how information moduled or restructured the understanding of generations. A treaty which happened in 1973 is being questioned in 2020. Completely haywire, completely chaos. That is because we constantly want the information to be confirmed. And when even a negative or a false information is repeated again and again, again and again over different platforms, different medias, we tend to understand that not all the mediums, all the platforms could be wrong. One platform could be doing it for their own purpose. But what is the purpose of the other platform? So we tend to believe that. Previously it used to be only print media and the visual media. But now, with the digital age, we are in the social media platform. All these three combined, the human behavior or the mind could be altered. So we are not talking about those. We are talking about why do we require information upon information. It's because human brain wants to confirm what it knows, because again the call to action comes in. Information when stored in your brain, you want yourself to take a very, very calculative decision depending on that information which you're storing. So your brain compels you to collect more information to confirm. It is for the confirmation. Now then, with the confirmation, what happens is the next stage of removal of doubts. Like let's say you are planning to go for a vacation, and you are looking for five-star hotels, and you do a search in the travel sites, and you find a hotel in your location which is 5-star. You feel that, well, as far as I, in a couple of years back also this hotel was a 4-star hotel. Like what services have they changed, or what has changed in their service parameters that they are claiming to be 5 stars? So your previous information compels you to believe that it's still a 4. Present information which is available on the internet or the travel site says this is a 5-star hotel. So there is a conflict, there is a doubt. Brain wants more information to confirm which data is correct. And the more deeply rooted the previous information is, like maybe you have went to that previous place, stayed in that in that same hotel, and while you stayed in that hotel 10 years back, it was a 4-star or a 3-star hotel, and today you see that name of that hotel as being rated as 5-star. Now you, your family members, or you think within yourself, like last time I stayed with them, it was a 3. 4-star hotel? What has changed and why are they claiming it as a 5-star hotel? We tend to forget that this 10 years has passed by and this hotel might have taken a lot of steps, a lot of service parameters might have changed, and they might have re-registered as a 5-star hotel. So we start looking for more information about that hotel. Like what have they done? What is the change that has made them claim as a 5-star hotel? So that makes you search for more information. So for doubt removal, you require information only. You see, it is such a strange circle. Doubt about an information that is already stored, you require more information. So this is like a loop going on. A data which is stored once in your brain does not have to be there forever and ever, because your brain constantly wants to reconfirm the authenticity of the information stored. That is the beauty of human brain. That is the beauty of human psychology also. Once stored, it's not like it's never going to. Humans have evolved. The stored information has constantly been changed, constantly been questioned by himself, by the humanity himself, by the humankind themselves only. And they have reconfirmed all the stored information. The cavemen, when they discovered a stone could be thrown at an animal to ward them off, was a tool, was a weapon. But when the same stone they used to carve on the walls of the cave became like a tool to communicate. So how is this happening? Is because every time the stone age civilization or the people during those time found that the stone remains the same, but when it is thrown at an animal, yes, it is. Animals might have years might have passed when they found out that this could be also used to scratch on the walls of the cave, or for fighting kind also. So the stone remains the same. The utility or the usage of the stone keeps on changing. It's just like that. The information which is once stored by human brain 500 years ago has questioning, reconfirming, storing, again questioning, reconfirming, storing, implementation, and so on. That is what our genes. We question the information which we have, understand what we. If I was in school, you see, the 10th standard in 1993, till that year I was having this information that Pluto is the smallest planet on the, until late my son comes up to me and asks the same question, and when I mention the smallest planet confidently, he mentions, well, no, it is a dwarf satellite, not anymore the smallest planet. So you see, with the search of what was already, if the astronauts or the astrologists, or the astroscience or scientists stopped in understanding or questioning the existence of, in comparison to other planets or other satellite planets, still we would have been under this impression that Pluto is the smallest planet. But we have come to know that it is not. So the information has changed because somebody. Information is changing. Even the stored information is changing. The present information is class or the human community as a whole. Now, information which is outdated can only be replaced with a new information. So the importance of information is to replace what is already known, established, and known by the community or by the human class. So the information helps you in taking more confirmed decision, more precise decision, more concrete decision. So, if we boil down all the things about information that we spoke today, what it is to corporate management. When we are working as a team member or when we are leading a team, the kind of information that we are dealing with differs from levels to level. Information has always helped in creating better vision and creating missions to achieve those visions. With that note today, I sign off from this morning vibe session, wishing you all the best, good health, and be informed, but obviously and always verify the source of information. Please go to the source. Do not depend on the secondary source. Always go for the primary source as to what is the, why is this information here, and what is the call to action. Because many a times when we are forwarding a Facebook or any other social platform or even an email, we are least informed about the hidden agenda behind that information being there. You need to understand that information is not there just out of luck, sheer happiness, or sheer fun. And information is but made, fabricated, or created by individuals or groups with a certain kind of intention. When a cyclone like Amphan hits, when somebody shares the picture of devastated people or trees, he has an intention to raise that awareness about environment, to raise the awareness about the to raise an awareness to plant in more trees, to be more environmentally conscious, to be more green oriented, and take a better decisions when we are living in the environment with more trees being planted, more care of, and return to the greenery. No information is without an intention, the bottom line. So understand that, go to the source. The next time you forward that good morning or good night or any kind of religious, political, any kind of message to me or to anybody else, please understand what is the call to action. Your intention might be right. The message in a different way as per your understanding, the kind of information that you have stored in your brain. But when it reaches to me, it might have a different meaning altogether. It might motivate me, it might instigate me, it might inspire me to do something. Wording is not wrong, but judge what is the call to action, what is the in